Good day and welcome to DIR Let's Talk Sense. I'm your host, Beaumont Todd, the Training Communications Manager here at the Department of Inland Revenue. Let's Talk Sense is a show where we break down all of the different rules, laws, amendments, and different things that you need to remain compliant as our clients here at the Department of Inland Revenue. And we break down all of the taxes to make it as easy as possible for you to be successful in your compliance endeavors. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me, Miss Alicia Butler, who is the credit manager at the Bahamas Development Bank, where we're going to talk a little bit about the Bahamas Development Bank, the resources that they offer, as well as what it is that you need if you're looking to get credit, but also if you're looking to build your business and to be successful in this year. So let's welcome to the show, Miss Butler. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, I'm excited because
I'm excited as well.
I know there is so much that the Bahamas Development Bank actually offers for its clients and persons. And it doesn't just service, one type of person. It
Mhm,
services persons in the orange economy,
mhm,
persons in the blue economy,
mhm,
persons in the green economy. So
mhm.
I'm excited for our viewers to have an opportunity to know what they need in order for them to be successful in their businesses this year.
Certainly.
So
Mhm.
let's just talk about it a little bit. So for those viewers that might, for the first time, the Bahamas Development Bank, who are you? What is the role of the bank plays in supporting, I would say, economic development in the Bahamas?
Yes. So thank you for that question. So we are the Bahamas Development Bank. We are the government's catalyst for economic expansion. So we are always looking for projects that are innovative and creative. The bank has a focus which is industry driven. We are here to support entrepreneurs where we can create jobs, the use of raw materials here in the Bahamas, and to ensure that a lot of our products are able to meet the international standards in terms of ours made here in the Bahamas.
And I'm so excited to hear you say that because one of the things I know persons when they look at the Department of Inland Revenue think that we only care about taxes, which
Yeah,
we collect
yeah,
taxes, but if businesses aren't successful, if they don't
yeah.
expand, if they don't grow,
Mm-hmm.
there are no taxes for us to
Agree,
collect.
agree.
So speaking about that, then the question would be, how does the Bahamas Development Bank differ from, say, a traditional or commercial bank?
Absolutely. That's a very good question. So, the Bahamas Development Bank is uh, a development bank, which you would find in every country. We support national development and entrepreneurship. The bank has always had one focus, and that is industry focus. Those industries are manufacturing, agriculture, tourism, transportation, anything in the digital space, the use of renewable energy. These are the businesses that we focus on as a development bank.
Okay. So I think you mentioned, but then what are, I would say, what are some of the products or services
Mhm.
does the Bahamas Development Bank currently offer to, say, entrepreneurs or businesses in the Bahamas?
Sure. So, your initial question is what differs between us and other commercial banks? So, we don't provide home mortgages, we don't do consumer lending.
Mhm.
Our responsibility as a development bank is to expand this country economically, and that's creating entrepreneurs. So when an individual or an applicant comes in as a potential entrepreneur or an existing business, uh, we see where we find other banks do not support certain types of businesses, particularly in the various industries. So, in the fishing industries, if you're looking for a fishing vessel or to equip your vessel with the necessities to go out there and fish, in the agricultural space, if you're looking to which we love to support, evolve in this particular space. We are here to support those projects where we can actually feed ourselves as a country. We love to see entrepreneurs who are looking to manufacture a product. So we've seen and we've supported businesses that have taken the coconut and this particular product has evolved into jewelry. That material is used for bags, decorations. We support anything in the manufacturing space once it is made here and it is authentically made Bahamian product. We have businesses in the transportation space. These are businesses with chartered licenses, tour licenses that can support the tourism industry. Again, in this, and tourism is pretty broad. The tourism industry is pretty broad. So you have entrepreneurs who are looking at ideas to entertain the tourist, whether that is water sports or entertainment on land. We support those types of projects.
What about couriers and those doing messengers too?
So service is a very small part of what we do here at the Development Bank. Again, we are industry focused. Service, these businesses usually need small funding. So we have the microloan product where you can, if you're looking to expand your business, we can fund you up to 15,000. And let me say, the maximum we lend at the development bank is $2 million.
Okay.
So there are every industry has a cap. In the tourism space, which is Airbnb, the maximum lending capacity is $2 million. We also support the transportation mailboat businesses. So we've seen a lot of businesses in that space. As you are or may not be aware, transportation in the mailboat space is very critical to the Bahamas, where these types of vessels service the various islands that do not have direct opportunities to purchase goods for their services. We also support businesses in the digital space. So technology is I think that's a space where we don't that in manufacture we don't see a lot of applications. So if you're out there and you have an idea in the manufacturing space or you have a project in the digital space, we'd really like to see those type of applications coming to the bank.
And that brings me to my next question. And I want to encourage our listeners that are tuning in, whether you are a young person, whether you're somebody that has been in business for a while, or whether you're somebody that feels that I'm too old to get in business, there's never no age limit.
Mhm.
And one of the great opportunities that the bank offers is, as long as it is a developed idea and a developed plan, that you are actually here to support them to be able to bring that to fruition. So that brings me to my next question. So, if someone has a business idea or an existing business and they need funding, what does the actual, I would say, application process look like from the start to approval?
Certainly. So we have the onboarding process. We have a very strong team that can walk you through this process. But in some instances, before we get there, we have a business development department.
That's excellent.
Yes. So that is something very new, very recent to the bank. And the purpose of this department is really to close gaps. We find that for the year 2025, we received over $30 million in applications. Unfortunately, 70% of those applications did not come to fruition. And what that means for the audience out there is you have to do the work. You have to find out what those prerequisites are in order to get funding. So that requires you to put together a strong business plan. You have an idea. How do you now sell this idea to the bank in order to receive funding? Quotes, you need a business license. The development bank does not support businesses where you don't have a business license. We only fund businesses as a development bank. And that is where we ask the question, how do we differ? We support entrepreneurship. That requires a business license. So you have to do the work. So you need a business plan. You need a business license. In your business plan, you should identify whether or not your business has discovered that there is a problem. There's a gap that you can now close. So you've solutionized this problem. You also need to identify who your target market is. That makes your product very unique. You need a 3 to 5 year projection plan. We need to kind of grasp how successful this business is going to be and its level of viability. Quotes you're required to have if you're purchasing equipment, insurance over the assets. You just need a quote, life insurance, and anything in the tourism space that requires a license outside of your business license, you have to acquire that as well.
Well, I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask the
Mhm.
question anyway. Would I need to have a limited company or can I do a doing business as so it doesn't matter?
Right. So we encourage persons to incorporate your business name. The incorporation of the LLC becomes its liability for funding. Anything in the trading as space makes you liable because it's your name trading as a business name, which means all of your um, debt associated with your name, anything associated with your name. We'd like to see evidence of certain things, whether you've had a relationship with another institution, whether or not you've had this business for longer than you say you've had it. We know that sometimes we don't like to disclose information, but you're required to have a credit bureau's report. That report exposes all of your relationships in the past. And so the integrity and the transparency of any applicant is very important to us. So, character and capacity are the first two things that we look at within the 5 C's of credit. And so, your character, your integrity, your honesty to any institution is critical. Capacity is whether or not you have serviced all of your debt in the past. Um, at a satisfactory level. So those are the things that we look at in terms of funding when you come into the bank.
And I smiled when you mentioned the credit bureau because that was going to be one of my
Yeah,
questions if
yeah.
that's actually included. And I'll ask another question connected to that a little later. But right before we go to a break, I'm going to
Mhm.
ask one last question. So,
Certainly.
what makes an applicant, I would say, credit ready? And what are the top things that the bank looks at when reviewing an application? And I think you mentioned some of them, but just again for our
Yeah.
viewers.
So just for the viewers, we weigh every application based on your uh, capacity and your character. Capacity to service a debt. Anytime we look at whether or not you've had a sully relationship with another institution, it's a red flag for us. Your credit, your CRIF report, we say your credit bureau report actually indicates if you're high risk, medium risk, or low risk. And that's how you conducted business prior to coming to the bank. We try not to put applications out there for a decline. We actually walk you through this process and how you can strengthen your application for success. And so we walk you step by step through this process. Any gaps within this application process, we help you close those gaps. Now, there aren't not all applications we're able to provide funding for. I think sometimes the bank does not have an appetite for certain types of businesses. Even if you've proven or state your viability, we have successfully moved through um, over the years in 1 year almost $10 million in funding in the space of 6 months. And so we get some strong applications, but there's the work that you need to put into it before you come to the bank. Having an idea is great. The work that brings this idea to fruition is critical and really speaks to how successful this application is going to be.
Excellent.
Mhm.
All right. So I think we're going to just take our first break right here on DIR Let's Talk Sense. And we'll be right back after a short break to talk a little bit more with Miss Alicia Butler from the Bahamas Development Bank. We'll be right back.
Today, you will learn how to pay your VAT bill in the online tax administration system. Begin by visiting vat.revenue.gov.bs and log into your account. Please note that if you have multiple taxpayer accounts, you must select the appropriate one. Now, once on your taxpayer account, hover over the My Tax tab and click Make a Payment. Next, click on the green Pay Now button to begin your payment process. Here on the Select Items to Pay page, your VAT fees are listed as items, organized by tax type, period, due date, and payment amount. If applicable, select all items to avoid additional penalties, interest, and fees. Then click Continue. On the Review Payment page, you can change the payment amount for each item. Finally, continue on to the last page where you will make your payment, seen under Payment Summary. Payments can be made with Visa or MasterCard debit and credit cards. Credit card information is never stored by the Department of Inland Revenue. Please note that you may be charged a convenience fee for this payment. This fee is charged by the payment provider, not by the Department of Inland Revenue, and will not contribute towards your tax. For more information, visit our website at inlandrevenue.finance.gov.bs or follow us on social media at DIR Bahamas.
And welcome back to DIR Let's Talk Sense. I'm your host, Beaumont Todd, the Training Communications Manager here at the Department of Inland Revenue. As we were talking in our first, before we went on our break, we were talking with Miss Alicia Butler from the Bahamas Development Bank, who is the credit manager. Now, one of the things that she said that I definitely want to encourage our listeners and those that are tuning in is the importance of making sure when you go into business, or even if you have an idea, do your research so that at the end of the day, you have all of the information that you need to make sure that your business is successful. And even if you face difficulties, at least you know you've built on a good foundation that you can pick yourself up, start back over again. And even with us at the department, we encourage you, even before you put in for your training, before you apply for your license, do your research for all of the different regulators that you need. And you can ask them the questions of why they need certain things, because it will also help you to gauge how you should structure your business to make sure at the end of the day that you are successful in what you're doing in your business. But as we come back from our break, so then my question would be for those that are tuning in, what are some of the common mistakes that you see or red flags that can weaken an application or lead to rejection,
Yeah,
you
that's
would
a
say?
great question. What we're finding of late is business plans coming in that have been prepared by AI. I think it's very important to understand how this tool works. There is information, like an algorithm already in this tool. If you ask a tool to create a business plan in the tourism space, the information is not extrapolated from something here in the Bahamas. You have to understand the market. You have to understand whether or not you're solving a problem. The business plans that we've been receiving, it is so evident that AI has created it, that you don't understand the market. The projections that are sensationalized. If you're new to a market, and I'm speaking to the audience out there, your business must understand its competition. When you understand your competition, you will understand what your financials should look like. You cannot come out to bat in an industry that is saturated with a particular product and your financials, your revenue is some $3 million in the first year. We have to be very conservative with these numbers. So we see the challenge with the business plans being created externally. When I say that, it's so important that you give the information to the tool, you feed it, and they just compile that information into a business plan. We don't see the realistic evidence in this business plan. That is the first mistake. The second is that you're not prepared when we give you a checklist of items. These are prerequisites to funding. It takes you 2 months, 3 months to gather these documents just so that we can move an application forward. We've since adjusted that process where we give you 5 days from when we provide you with a checklist. So you now have an idea as to what the expectations are from the institution. After 5 days, we send you a formal letter with items that are outstanding because you may just present the bank with a business plan. So any document that we're holding, we give you 14 days. After 5 days, that's a total of 20 days to gather this information. We find that the effort that is required to go into gathering this document, it is paramount that you do the work because the business will require all of your efforts. So the effort doesn't start upon operation. The effort actually begins
Even
when you
before.
long before when you walk into your competitor's space and you get a feel of what's missing. You then come in and close that gap. You understand who your target market is. Most importantly, understand the consumer's appetite will change. So you have to be able to think about how do I pivot or diversify when the consumers are no longer supporting your product? What is next for this business? When you don't think along those lines, we see within a year or two these businesses fail. So you have to do the work as a potential entrepreneur. You have to, and I'm speaking to startup businesses that are existing. We look at their cash flow. We look at how viable those projects have been over the last 2 to 3 years. Now they're looking to expand because they see where the business is growing. We're here to support those businesses.
And that comes back to another question when it comes to how you mention of how they structure their business. So my question then, because this also ties in with what we do, how important is when you're thinking about your business structure and compliance, including, having your business license and your VAT where applicable, and especially sound financial records, because a
Mhm.
lot of times I don't think persons realize how important keeping proper financial
Absolutely.
records
Absolutely.
are
Mhm.
when you're seeking financing.
Yes, that is very important and a very good point. And I'm definitely going to expound on that. You ask, what are the other challenges? Existing businesses. We've seen where you're managing businesses from a personal fund. It's very difficult for banks to really determine what your revenues are and what your personal deposits and expenses are. You have to separate the two. If you're running a business, have a business account. Ensure that all of your business uh, income, output, that's expenses, that's cash coming in, cash going out, is itemized or identified on this account. If you're paying your mortgage from your business account, you're not operating well. If you're paying your cable bill from this account, let it be for your business. So this is the challenge that we've had over the years that you bring your financials to the bank and it's in Jerry John. Jerry John got some monies from his uncle to deposit to this account. We cannot say if this deposit is revenue from your business or this is a gift from someone else. We see that your expenses, you have to know what financial planning is. You have to lay out a financial plan. One, you have your profit and loss statement, and you have your balance sheet, and you have your cash flow statement. You have to be able to articulate what this means as far as an existing business is concerned. You don't want to operate or guess what should have happened financially with your existing business. You want to make sure that you're paying your VAT annually or quarterly, whatever is proposed to you from inland revenue. Some persons pay quarterly, some people pay annually. You cannot get a business license if you've not serviced the government as agreed. You cannot come to the bank for funding if you owe the government. Let's make
Yes,
that very
clear.
clear. So we've seen instances where applicants, businesses owe the government and still want funding. We are a government owned institution.
Right now, what would you say are some of the strongest sectors or industries that you currently see that are promising financial opportunities?
Definitely the tourism space. We have a very diversified portfolio. We can also be saturated in any one of those industries. So in the service space, there's a very small lending capacity there. We have been promoting our product in the medical space. If you're listening, doctors, we are here to support your business if you're looking to expand. And we have been marketing the manufacturing space where we would like to see more applications in those two spaces. But tourism has certainly captured the large percentage of our portfolio in years past. And so I think that and transportation with mailboats has been the strongest of businesses within our portfolio.
Now, the orange economy is very dear to my heart, as you know.
So that's a tough one, Mr. Todd. That's a tough one because in the cultural space, um, we don't see where persons want debt financing. Because in the orange space, it's very seasonal, very competitive. You don't have a strong revenue base within a short space of time. We don't get to see where, like in the tourism space, you're generating revenue every day. Every day you're out there, your business have consumers servicing your business every day. In the cultural space, it's not necessarily like that. We have, for all of the applications we've received, I want to say 85-90% of them was looking for grant funding.
Is that because of how they've structured possibly their businesses when they consider the type of business model that they're going
It's
into?
very possible. It's very possible that that's the way they structure their business. These businesses actually aren't designed for to service a debt on a monthly basis. Whether we can arrange or look at its revenue base, its projections, to really see when is this stronger period of generating revenue and when is its weakest, we don't know. It's very difficult to speak to it because we've not seen applications in this space. We have offered grants in the orange economy and we have been overwhelmed
With
with
persons.
applicants in the orange economy seeking grants as opposed to debt financing.
Thank you so much for being with us
You're
today.
welcome. Thank
Any
you.
closing remarks for our audience, and how can they find you for more information about the Bahamas Development Bank, or if they're looking to even come in and apply?
Absolutely. So we have an extraordinary website, bahamasdevelopmentbank.com. You can visit our website to see what we have to offer. If it's not very clear, we find that it's not for everyone, you don't need an appointment to come into the office. We are on Robinson Road and Key West Street. You're welcome to come in at any time. You can call us at 702-5701-02. Any of our offices in Grand Bahama and Nassau will make ourselves available to answer all of your questions. When in doubt, come and see us. We're here to assist you to ensure that you become your own business owner.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you too. Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's
Excellent.
all mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I know that's our time today, but we look forward to seeing you next time right here on DIR. Let's Talk Sense.
Thank
See you next time.